is just adding a full rotation. Let's see if one full rotation will work. Put it over 1. Negative 7 pi over 4 plus, to give a common denominator, I'm going to multiply by 4 over 4, which is 1. So that becomes 8 pi over 4. Negative 7 plus 8 gives you 1 pi over 4, or pi over 4. Raise your hand if you got that. Yep. Okay, let's try negative. And negative is negative 7 pi over 4. I'm just going to save ourselves some time. Instead of adding a full rotation, I'm just subtracting a full rotation. We already figured out that 2 pi is 8 pi over 4, so you don't have to redo it again. Negative 7 minus 8 gives you what? Negative 15 pi over 4. All right, I wanted to actually show you how do you draw the radians now. Let me tell you. In degrees, this position, the standard position, the initial position, is how many degrees? 0. In radians, it would just be 0 radians. In a full rotation of a circle, we would say 360 degrees, but in radians, a full rotation is 2 pi. Now, a half of a circle is 180 degrees, so half of 2 pi is 1 pi. Now, I would normally write 1 pi, but I'm leaving it as a fraction to help you understand the other ones. If this is 1 pi, just think pi, and divided by 2, because 180 divided by 2 is 90, so pi divided by 2 is called pi over 2. And then 1 pi over 2 plus 2 pi over 2 gives you 3 pi over 2. 90 plus 180 gives you 270, so pi over 2 plus 2 pi over 2 gives you 3 pi over 2. If someone just asked me, is this the quadrantal angles of the unit circle? They are, of radian measures. So, pi over 4, the answer was pi over 4. So let's draw pi over 4. Essentially, pi over 4, you'll learn, is a 45-degree angle. We don't have to convert it, but just trust me. Let's draw that in purple. So here I have pi over 4. Question. In some ways, it's working backwards. How do I get negative 7 pi over 4? What would you do? Positive or negative? Negative. Negative is in which direction? Which way? Clockwise. So if I go this way, and I subtract 8 pi over 4, negative 8 pi over 4 plus pi over 4 gives you negative 7 pi over 4. What does this mean? The original problem said, given negative 7 pi over 4, it's actually in this position right here, quadrant 1. Let me think about this for a second. Negative 7 pi over 4. Yes, correct. It's in this position. And we said add a full circle. Adding a full circle, positive, would be which direction? Counterclockwise. Well, we end up in the same position, and if I added 8 pi over 4, I get pi over 4 as my answer. So what's new is converting now all of this into radians.